I am starting this because everybody involved with Enter the Mind Dungeon that I was seeing and speaking with and interacting with on for the past 4 months or so, I've rarely, if at all, spoken with any of you. So I was like, I'm going to reach out to everyone on an individual basis. And then I was like, shit, what if I just record it and ask them some silly questions and call it a podcast? And that's Influence and Homage. Kayla recorded audio for Enter the Mind Dungeon and Roscoe the Junkyard Cat.
Yes.
Hello, Kayla, and welcome.
Thank you.
And you did awesome.
Hooray.
That's, I think, part of why we asked you to come back for Enter the Mind Dungeon.
Which was awesome for me because I was a student going into the first one. Well, I didn't graduate from like film school, but I was done with the film program going into that. So I was really nervous and I was like, oh, they want to work with me again? Yeah, I did the right thing.
Nice. Yeah, no, you were awesome. Where did you take a film program at?
SPSCC.
Okay, super cool.
It was really fun. I have nothing but positive things to say about it.
Olympia is a pretty small community, so you end up working with, there's a lot of cross-pollination, I think is the easiest way to put
There's
that.
so much of it, and it's wonderful.
So you're not just a person who records sound. You're also, I believe, a musician and an artist. And what else?
Oh, gosh. I have a lot of hats, like the caps for sale guy. I teach preschool. I teach preschool and I draw and I sing mostly, sort of ish, production-ish. And then, I do like cosplay things.
Oh, cool.
Based on Dungeons and Dragons right now, but I used to do it for like anime.
I remember when, I think it was our first day of shooting Roscoe, and we went to my friend Bill Davies' place down in Tenino, and I think it was the first time that I had ever met you. I hadn't worked with you before, but Sabrina said, we got to have Kayla. Kayla's great because she had worked with you previously. And you showed up and you, I think, brought a ukulele.
I did.
And you started playing and singing
I was going to show up with a ukulele.
Yeah. So that's my first memory of you, is you showing up to Roscoe the Junkyard Cat and playing and singing on the ukulele for us.
With Bill. Bill sang with me because I did not know the words.
Okay, what was the song you were doing?
What was it? It was Smelly Cat.
From Friends?
Yeah. Sabrina has a picture of us singing Smelly Cat. And it's one of my favorite pictures.
When did you first know that you wanted to be doing art?
It's definitely sequential. All of these things started with one and has done like this thing across my life. It started with singing when I was a child. Apparently, like some of the first words that I learned were some of the first words I started singing. And my family's very musical, so we kind of just grew up around that. So I was just like, I'm going to sing, and I'm going to be a singer, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to live my life. And as I've progressed through like what seems like a logical progression towards that as a career, I've like stumbled through a bunch of other stuff and been like, okay, I'm going to do this too. And I'm also going to do this because why not?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's good to try different things because, I mean, you never know, like, if you might like doing something if you don't ever give it a shot. And it's also, I think, good to be well-rounded and to, know lots of different things. Like, what is the saying? I think it was Robert A. Heinlein that said specialization is for insects. And humans should be able to do this wide variety of skilled tasks because we can learn a lot of things, and we're very intelligent. We have the capacity to learn how to do all of these different things, and I thought that was neat.
Yeah, it's kind of insane, and I think a lot of my like dabbling has been encouraged by my job because we do so many different things with the toddlers to expose them to stuff because they need it for development. Because oh gosh, child brains are weird, and the human brain itself is insane. And I think the skills cross a lot. There's a lot of things, especially in the creative community, because collaboration is happening so much more often now. Overlapping skills end up opening a lot of doors, and you usually find that one thing if you know more about it, will help you make the other thing.
So tell me, what would you consider to be your first official thing?
I've been in, I think, 2 musicals in high school. Hello, Loki.
Kitty cat.
This is her window, so she's just rude about it.
Very inconsiderate.
So I did, I think Pirates of Penzance was one of them. And hello. Cat has distracted me from what I was talking about. But anyway.
Pirates of Penzance?
Yeah, Pirates of Penzance. And then there was The Music Man. I wasn't like in it, but I did, like I helped with costumes. And then I also did box office stuff. So kind of my junior and senior, like a little bit at the end of sophomore year, but mostly junior and senior year, I like really dove into theater and music. I was always in band and choir off and on growing up. Band always, choir off and on. And yeah, so that just led me to doing the musicals.
The last few months have been obviously challenging for, everyone around the world.
Oh
not
my
just
gosh.
us. But, so lately.
That's like the understatement of the century.
Right. Obviously, with you and I, with the art, the artwork, the drawing and the painting and whatnot, we can keep doing that in private. We can keep writing music and writing anything and whatnot. But filmmaking specifically is such a collaborative effort that it requires, getting, a group of people together in close proximity to work close. So with that backdrop of COVID in 2020, what's next for you?
Immediately next is I just actually today toured at the Fosbury Academy of Hair Design. It's necessary for me to go to school because I wanted a trade that is universal so that if I move out of country, which is something that recent events have strongly urged me to do, I know that sounds silly about traveling.
Yeah, I don't think you need to feel self-conscious about wanting to leave our country right now. It's a troubling time.
I feel that personally the best way I can help is from a distance that is safe for me. I think everyone should help in the capacity that they're able to help with.
When things have gotten to the point where people don't feel safe in their own country just being who they are, then we have problems.
Indeed.
And when people don't feel safe just because of who they are, that's not right. And we're headed in the wrong direction.
Yeah. That's like a down the drain direction. So I'm just like, I'm out kind of thing, which is, it's something that I have to work towards because sadly, I'm not, like, a lot of people are not able to just leave. So
no, most people aren't. It takes money to just up and move to another country. My hope is that you won't have to feel the need to leave in 6 months, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's hopefully things. I'm holding out a lot of hope these days for things to get better. But that's really all that you can do is hold out hope and then try to help in every way you can, and educate yourself.
And it is easy to be alarmist because things that are happening are alarming. But on the other hand, if you look at the past, we seem to have been making steady but slow progress. So that is kind of promising, and I think that really, and I don't know, and I don't judge anybody if they decide, to leave, if they're done and they want out, like that's, I can't hold that against anybody, but like, it feels like it's coming time where, we have to stand up for what we believe in. And sometimes for some people that means, like you said, going to somewhere that's safe for you.
Yeah. There's lots of ways to take a stand. And I think it's great the thing that's great is that everybody seems to be realizing that like the one universal trend that's going on is that everyone's like, holy crap, nothing is okay right now. Nothing is right. Things need to come back into balance, or find balance, because I guess we never really had it.
The thing, I think that if you never got paid to do it, I think that you would still do it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, literally, like, this is the funniest thing is that, like, there was a point in which, I mean, I guess I technically was getting paid because we had our normal, but we were out of work for a minute. So I had all the free time in the world and fulfilled all my other work commitments. So, like, there was nothing left. But I was just like, well, I'm going to make stuff now. So I started making art. That's when I started, like, going back to doing most of my drawing. And I did start writing music. So I think, like, just kind of all of the things that I normally enjoy as, like, hobbies right now, I would spend all of my time doing, whether I would get paid or not, because I currently don't get paid to do them anyway, for the most part.
Nice. And it's the same for me. I don't get paid for any of the stuff that I do, but it is a survival mechanism. It's something that I have to do because it's just like breathing, really.
It's like part of who you are.
If you're hanging out with your grandma and she wants to see something that you've made, a piece of your art, what do you show her?
What I have been showing people, if anyone asks, is my Instagram feed.
Okay.
Because I've started just throwing everything there. I have some of the stuff from Instagram here, and the one thing that I have in front of me is my Dungeons & Dragons character design.
Oh, cool.
Only one this is an old concept. It's changed since then, but it's a Warforged druid in this, like, homebrew world. We're following, like, the Dungeons & Dragons rules, kind of. I don't know. Our DM is DMing her own stuff, loosely following 5e rules. So
that's how D&D is supposed to be played.
Yeah, it's great. It's really fun.
So you guys are doing it right.
I love when Dungeons and Dragons feels like you're collaboratively writing a story rather than playing a game. Roleplay kind of stuff has always been something that I really enjoy as, like, a just adding on to, like, the music that I do, and I think that's what pushed me into all these other different stuff. I was like, telling stories, roleplay. Music is telling stories. And you have to role play sometimes. I'm gonna go do some more of this stuff.
So when you're showing this picture to Grandma, are you explaining to her what Dungeons and Dragons is and whatnot?
Well, she's familiar because my mom played Dungeons and Dragons. So, like,
okay,
she's just
cool.
like, oh,
the Grandma already knows what D&D is.
Yeah, she if she doesn't know, she'll just be like, my mom will be like, you know this thing, because whenever I'm around my grandma, my mom's always there. And then she'll be like, oh, that game, I just don't understand any of that. And then she moves on with the conversation. But she always likes stuff. She has an Instagram, and she likes my stuff on Instagram. So
that's awesome. What's your Instagram? Do you want to plug it?
Yeah. So it is kb.arts, but spelled with a Z, .96. Great.
So that people can
Perfect.
go to Instagram.com/kbarts96.
That's me.
90 was 96 the year you were born?
It is.
I feel ancient right now.
Yeah.
That was the year I graduated high school.
Wow.
Yes. 96. Oh my goodness.
I'm already getting that feeling with the teenagers that I work with. So right. I can only imagine what that feels like exponentially as you get older. I
don't know, because it's weird for me, because I don't think that I'm ever going to be one of those dudes that is like, the damn kids these days, they don't understand things. I don't think I'm ever going to be that guy, because I feel like, man, kids are just trying to figure shit out, you know? Like, it doesn't matter what generation, what era, what year, everybody's just trying to figure shit out. Nobody's, you know, you don't have to run around judging people because they don't do shit the same way you do. Like,
yeah. I think I aim towards that attitude and then like I fall short of it with certain teenagers.
I think that's fair because you probably deal with teenagers way more than I do because I don't deal with them at all. So it's
I
easy for me to have that perspective.
Yeah, I deal with teenagers on a daily basis.
Okay.
So, like, because I work, some of our support staff is teenagers, and some of them are great, and some of them are just like, please get it together before you grow up and have to be part of adult world.
But shit, I'm
Yeah.
42 and I still feel like I'm struggling to figure things out. Some
It's hard.
days.
A lot of the things that we have are so situational, based
Right.
on where and when you came from.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. So Kayla, let's talk about the weather.
The weather.
Yeah, the weather. What's something that you would want people to know about you? I mean, we've been talking about is things that you want people to know about you, but do you have something else you could throw out there? Like if I were to say, all right, we're done here, Kayla, what's the one thing you would want to say about you?
I guess a random fact is like the theme that popped into my head, and I started trying to think of random facts. I guess we have not yet stated I was in the military once.
Oh my goodness, Kayla, I didn't know you were in the military.
I was, yeah, for 5 years.
Oh my goodness.
Reserve. So not like high intensity. Well, some of it was high intensity. Off and on levels of intensity. It's very roller coastery when you're in the reserve.
All right, Kayla, tell me about an unpopular opinion that you hold.
My most tame, unpopular opinion is that I think Coke and Pepsi are just about the same. You can drink either.
What the crap, Kayla?
Drink literally both of them.
See, I'm actually more offended by the second thing you said than the first. Like I think it's something like every 7 years your palate changes. And what I've noticed, being 42, so 7 years has come and gone quite a few times now, is that my tolerance for sweet things keeps going down, which is
that'll
interesting.
be better for you as your age goes up. Your not craving sugar becomes a better and better thing.
Right? Yeah, totally. Because sugar is not good for you.
No, it's highly inflammatory, apparently.
Right. Yes. Bad for the heart and the vascular system and whatnot.
Yeah, even natural sugar, even like naturally occurring sugar can be inflammatory if you eat too much of it. I mean, I guess that means any too much of anything is bad. Stop screaming at me.
So what I'm getting from this, Kayla, is don't eat fruits and vegetables because they have sugar in them.
No, that's not what I said. Don't misinterpret her words.
Is this Thor?
This is Thor, my little tripod.
Oh, hey, what's up, Thor, the tripod cat? You're cool.
He's a tripod. That's what the vet keeps calling him. So
Thor has 3 feet.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
His affectionate
3 feet is better than none.
He is feisty.
Yeah, he's pretty feisty. He's getting you.
They both live up to their namesake in the strangest ways. This one is very brave and yet also just kind of a chill little dude. And then Loki is like super duper smart but really high strung. I don't know.
Do the vibrations that make you continue on in some capacity after your body functions cease, or is that the end of Kayla?
No, I have a very solid idea of, and I always have, of what happens when we die. Like, I was very concerned with this as a little child. So I came up with my own explanation and I just have been running with it. I was like, all right, from a purely scientific standpoint, energy cannot be destroyed or created. It's always there, right? And I was like, well, your soul, my mom said, is like your energy. So it can't really die. Like, that just doesn't make sense. So it must go somewhere else. And so I've always been on the like, all right, our energy definitely goes somewhere when it dies. And I guess it could go in whatever way you really want it to go.
I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense, and I believe that at a certain point in my life, I came to similar conclusions that I believed. So with you seem to, at least based on the way you describe it, have a relatively optimistic view of the end of life. Do you get the existential dread then?
Absolutely, because I'm just like, at the same, like, obviously my physical form is what I know, and I
Right.
have a huge fear of the unknown. So I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen to this when its physical body disappears. Whatever energy is being sourced here or held here or created here, like, what is happening to it when its material form is gone? Who knows? I don't know. That's kind of scary. I have a life now. I have a reality that I live in.
Yeah, it's
So it's scary. It's really scary.
it's unknown, and we don't know, and we really can't know. I've had a series of sort of shifting beliefs, as I evolved as a being. But I think what I wanted to key in on that you had mentioned was positivity. So if you project kindness and empathy and positivity, that will tend to be what you get back. And
Mhm.
I mean, it does kind of sound like a bunch of hippie nonsense, but I think in practice, it is at least on days where I'm projecting kindness and compassion, I have a better day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's universal, and so it's like, and I think a lot of that comes from just like there's nothing else you can do. You live in your own person. You are your own person. That's what you have control over, and that's how you perceive things. So if you're already in a positive mindset, even if somebody else isn't, you're probably not going to perceive them as angry or whatever. You're just going to be like, oh, maybe they're just having a bad day. Whatever, no big deal. Keep on trucking. Like, it changes your whole, like, everything that comes in becomes different if you're already putting out like good stuff,
yeah,
good
no,
vibes.
absolutely. It's totally true. Attitude is huge, and I hated that idea when I was younger.
Right.
That attitude was more important than aptitude. Like, the very concept when I was a teenager was insulting to me. Of course, I had a shitty attitude then, and throughout
Right.
life, I have slowly learned that yes, attitude is actually more important than aptitude.
It's so funny that they try to drill it into you young when you have no concept of what that means.
Right. Well, I mean, some people got it. I know there were a lot of people around me that understood those things and
Right.
did well in high school and whatnot, but I wasn't one of them. I was just, I mean, maybe my conditions of my upbringing led me to being quite an angry young individual. Let's talk about our thing, the thing that we made together. What was your favorite part of Enter the Mind Dungeon?
The humor is what kills me, and I think a lot of that has to do with the, like, just exceptional interplay between the actors on set, and the fact that you guys are so willing to let them improv. And as a sound person, laughter, like backstage laughter, is the worst, and I am the worst culprit. And I'm just like trying so hard to rein it in, but everyone is just doing such a great job, and the writing is good, so everyone has a good, like, all the actors have a good base to jump off, and then they feed off of each other so well. It just seems like a really cohesive thing coming together. And it's hilarious, and I just love. I'm absolutely in love with it, and it also helps that I play Dungeons and Dragons, so my heart is already just kind of there.
A
So
little foot in that world already.
yeah,
Yeah,
I get all the jokes.
right, when it's really, I think, fulfilling as a writer to hand a script to a couple of actors and then to see them not just deliver those lines, but sort of breathe life into those characters, and then take it somewhere beyond where I imagined it going. And I love to see that.
It is such a beautiful thing.
Because you get anybody who, let's say, experiences a little different than someone else. So everybody puts their own stamp on a project, and that's my favorite thing about filmmaking. And I think that's kind of one of the reasons that I want to continue doing it over other things that I do by myself, like drawing and painting and whatnot. I
can absolutely see that. I find myself more and more drawn to film because of how much, there's so much you're exposed to being on film because of the fact that everyone you're working with is exposed to different things. It's there's a lot that can be brought to the table, and it's great. Go film.
Let's talk about process and practice. Flow state. Have you, you know what this is?
I do know what flow state is. Singing is probably my favorite flow state because at that point, it's literally because playing an instrument is one thing, drawing, it's all stuff, but the one thing that gets me the most happy and the most feeling like everything is just one is singing to myself in my room by myself. It's really sad. I have to be perfectly isolated or in a massive group in order to feel supported and safe enough to just and that is a whole different kind of flow, and that's because you're a part of something.
Okay.
But I guess it's also similar. If I'm in a big crowded area and I have my headphones in, I don't care about anything.
Well, with the choir, that's tapping into. I have this weird sort of belief in genetic memory, and if you want to research, there's lots of weird pseudoscientific theories, and some of the pseudoscientific theories I ascribe to myself is that we have genetic memory as humans, and things that ancient humans did are still with us. We still carry sort of a memory of these things in our DNA. So music is one of the earliest forms of human communication and one of the earliest forms of human art. So music has been with us for tens of thousands of years.
It's so great.
Or playing music of any kind, listening to music, it hits the deepest notes within our soul. And that's, I think, part of why music is so important to us.
In choir at SPS, at one point, we had the opportunity for a gal to come sing a song with us. She's not a pop artist, but she is she's toured and she does a bunch of stuff. So her name is not an easy to remember name.
Right.
But why can't I remember? She did a master class, and in her master class, she was whenever you're on stage performing, you are performing essentially on the bones of literally every single musician that has ever contributed to music in society. She's music has been with us for that long. And she's she had a very reverent view of music, very worshipy. And I was that is so cool. I don't know if I'll ever get to that level.
Right.
But I'm sure probably at some point I will, because it seems to be a constant theme in my life. So I'm sure at some point I'll just be music is the God of my life. I can see myself going that direction. And I really appreciated that perspective because it makes you respect it more when you go into doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And another thing that kind of goes along with that genetic memory is that drawing on the cave walls and all the paintings that we found on the walls of caves.
Isn't that beautiful?
But that's why I think people shouldn't get mad at their kids for drawing on the walls. I'm humans have been drawing on the walls for tens of thousands of years. It's okay. Just let them do it.
It's also a developmental skill. If your kid is drawing on the walls, get them an art easel. They need that. They need the up and down of a paintbrush. It's important. So put the way we manage that in childcare is look, you can draw up and down and you can draw on the walls. You just have to put this down first. And then we teach them how to make a space clean. So you can do art however you want. You just have to make sure it's clean.
Right.
I think that's a very healthy thing for kids to know. It's like, do whatever you want, but make sure you clean up your mess.
Let's talk about influence and homage. That's why we're here. Tell me about a piece of art that touched you and maybe changed the way you look at the world.
There's been so many little ones here and there that it's really hard to hone in on like worldview changing things. For some reason, the thing that popped out to me was like a documentary that I watched about Robert F. Kennedy. I remember being so like, holy crap, what? Politicians can be nice and there are good people out there? I was like, what? That was like probably the first thing that changed my like worldview was that documentary.
I had a documentary film changed my perspective on the world as well. When I was a teenager, a freshman or a sophomore in high school, I saw a documentary called Manufacturing Consent, Noam Chomsky and the Media, and I was forever changed by it.
Interesting.
So I know what you're saying. I mean, a documentary can show you things about truth and reality and facts. I mean, that's kind of one of the cinema's ability to show the truth.
Yeah.
All right, Kayla, give me 3 artists that influenced you.
Like, it's going to sound cheesy because I'm going to be like, oh, it's all my friends. But it's true. And all of my friends happen to be artists of some kind, probably because we all flock together. 2 of my most influential artists, which would be my friends Sabrina and Wyeth, and I have made film with them. We've done a lot of, we play D&D together. So they're just kind of being artists that are in my life, are thus involved in my life quite a lot, especially around the art. So we all kind of have been each other's sounding boards, and we've given each other like feedback of like this way and this is that way. We all were going to school around the same time and learning. So those 2 have definitely been highly influential on me. And then the third person happens to be another person I went to school with, Cody Castillo. He and I on set are always like a really great team because we've worked with each other so much that we just like fall into a rhythm. And so we can just make like especially if he's on camera and I'm on sound for some reason, especially because we've worked with a lot of like action-y scenes together. So we've done a lot of like movement. So there's always like if you need a really tight camera sound duo for anything ever, I always feel like me and Cody would be good at that because I'm just like, we know how to move around each other and follow a subject at the same time. And then that, of course, influenced pretty much how I like look for things other. So I'm like, all right, I know I work really well with this one person, and here's all the reasons why.
Do you have a favorite story?
It's hard for me to pick favorites because I have like momentary favorites.
I hear you. I have rotating favorites as well. Like
so my current favorite, I guess, story is a story that a friend of mine is writing that I just like got hooked on and like sped read through, and she's trying to get it published and she's really discouraged. But it's called Hooverville, and the gal that wrote it also, her name is also Kayla. She's an amazing writer, and I can't give too much away about her thing because she's trying to publish it. So right. It's been in my mind in light of lots of stuff because there's a lot of overlapping themes. And so that's like my current favorite story because it's so well written. And I think it has so much potential to grow. I mean, it probably helps that my friend wrote it and I like her writing style. So
you've managed to keep it very local with your picks.
Honestly, it has, like, my life has kind of become that way recently. Because I'm sure if we'd done this interview thing like months ago, I would have been like, oh, Halsey and Billie Eilish and blah, because I was like so wrapped up in like things, and I've had so much time lately to take a break and unwind and like process. Probably because I'm not out and about going all over the place.
Right.
So
Our lives seem to have gotten smaller lately.
indeed, it's kind of refreshing in some ways.
Yeah, I agree.
Perspective. There's definitely been a lot of that.
Thank you so much for joining me, Kayla, and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. This was super fun.
Super cool. Do you want to tell anybody listening or watching this where they might find you and your work? Do you want to plug the Instagram again?
Yeah, so it's KBArts96 is my Instagram handle.
Super cool, Kayla. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you
Take
for
care.
tolerating.
Yeah, stay safe and stay
Have
healthy.
a good day.
All right.
You as well.
All right. Bye.